Alright, it is 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, August 20th. We're checking in on the markets here. I want to start off with PCLN just because it's been covered in chat, and there's an interesting volume pattern here on the 5-minute chart. We had a low of 266.07 and then another low of 265.55. So that's a difference of 62 cents lower, but on a $1,200 stock, I'm going to consider that a double bottom right now. We're watching close. You just saw a huge spike in volume just unfolded right before our eyes in a couple seconds there. We still have 5 minutes left on this candlestick, and we already have almost more volume than these unusually large volume bars as well. So there's a lot of action going on with PCLN right now. With this being a doji on the double bottom and the follow-through volume, I would suggest that it was people loading, but you can see the rejection from the 20-period moving average resistance. Look at this volume pour in right now. So the rejection, it closed down near the open. It's going to try and get over the 20-period moving average support. We're watching for it to do that. Volume is pouring in, but the price action is not reflecting it much. So there's definitely a tug of war going on right now between the bulls and the bears. And this is one you want to be watching closely just because this volume is very interesting. So that's an incredibly tight range for that much volume. And we still have 4 minutes left in this candlestick. So that's worth noting. We'll check back in before I sign off on PCLN. Looking at SPY now. Saw a nice higher low form, and now it's trying to break a higher high. The high it would need to break is 206.37. We'll see if it's able to do that. That should be lining up with this 100-period resistance as that comes down. Right now that higher low is a sign that it could be finding some support, but we'll have to see if it's just more of a downtrend if it gets rejected from 206.37. And again, as I keep reiterating, watch that 200-day moving average for SPY on the daily chart. Netflix has seen a very bearish day. Been oversold on the 5-minute chart for most of the day. Huge volume dump, trying to find a little bounce right now. Looking like, as Barb pointed out, or Monica, excuse me, the 112.50 is acting as support right now. If that fails as support and we see a new low of day, we're going to come down to the 110 psychological level, and after that, keep your eye on the 50-day moving average on the daily chart, which is 106.48. So that will be next, but 3 days in a row, we have 2 gap down days on Netflix, so another gap down tomorrow, and a bounce off the 50-day moving average would be a nice entry for a bullish trade. So I'm going to be watching that to see if it unfolds. There's always patterns, no matter what the market gives you, that you can utilize. If the markets are going to go bearish and get rejected by the 200-day moving average for SPY, we're going to be looking at puts and ETFs to play against the market. But this also could be an opportunity to find a bunch of gap down plays. 3 gap downs in a row signal a bullish reversal. So we're going to be keeping our eye out for that as well. RYAM, I'll just check in here, finding a tighter range of lower highs and higher lows. Low here of 649, and then a new low of 650. So it did hold that support, but until it can convincingly get over the 20-period moving average resistance at 676, it's going to be bearish in my opinion. We are seeing some nice volume here, and it is attempting to get over that level. So keep your eye on that level. Facebook here, just lower lows and lower highs. Classic downtrend. We're going to be looking at $91 for support now from the daily chart. You can see the big names, Netflix, Facebook, all the cult stocks are selling off, which is an indication that people are getting a little worried and taking their money out of the market. And those big overinflated names are going to be the first ones to see a steady drop. This is Tesla, which has been down all day, 246. Great coverage again by Maritza, and we were all over it with the close under the middle Bollinger Band. It was a battle right at the end of the day yesterday, and in the last couple minutes, the bears won that battle, and that has followed through today very significantly for the bears. Looking at Google here, again, more lower lows and lower highs. Finding support on the psychological 650 level. We'll see if it's able to hold that on the daily chart. Let me pull up Google real quick and see what we are looking at. I'll switch you guys over to follow along. So for Google, we've got a trading right now below the 10-day moving average. It is currently resistance at 653.13. If we get a close below that, we got the gap to fill here. The high of this day was 643.44, and here's a gap. A gap is when there is a gap in trading where stock prices are skipped, and usually they fill. Not all the time, of course. You can have runaway gaps, which is potentially what we might be seeing here, but as of right now, the gap to fill here is 643.44, and we have the middle Bollinger Band support of 642.36, which is likely to be tested on a close under the 10-day moving average support. Watching S here, I pointed it out on the 483 rejection, and it just made another attempt, got up to 483 again, and was rejected again. Currently trading below the 200. Let me switch you over real quick. Currently trading below the 200 and 100 period moving average resistances, and watch for that 480 break, which just recently happened. That's the 15-minute chart. I'll pull that up. 15-minute chart, 100-day moving average support is 480. So if it can fall below that, there will be more downside for S. I pointed out 477, which was the low of these two candlesticks. And after 477, we're going to come down and test the low of the day. So let's look now at some other names we've been following. LinkedIn obviously did not follow through on our bounce watch. That is because the markets are taking it down. So we're taking that off our bounce watch list for now. CSIQ found support at 19 and resistance at 20, so we're going to be watching that one closely. Also have SUNY finding support at 1250. It's got resistance at 13. A lot of these, because they have big drops, are going to be battling psychological resistance levels and finding psychological support levels. So Twitter, also one I'm watching for a bounce, but currently still very bearish, testing the low of the day right now. Looking at Apple here. So Apple, we just had a nice bounce, rejected by the 20-period moving average resistance, and set a lower low. So Apple is looking like we are coming down to 110. And keep your eye on this 20-period moving average resistance. VDSI, after another big pullback today, is trying to find some ground. All about these 100 and 200 period moving average resistances. If it breaks up above 1804, I will watch it closely going into the end of the day. And again, that mark is 1838 to close above if it does it. We'll keep it on our bounce watch. I want to go back to this chart that Siku posted. It's a good one. We've been watching UGAZ. Suggested it 2 days ago when it was finding 185 support. Just had favorable inventory report. And this chart shows you these circles, which were done by Siku's 3-year-old, are showing you where the inventory reports came out and how the price reacted. And as he pointed out, you can see every time it comes out, it seems like a change in trend. And if that were to happen in this case, we could be seeing a nice bounce up to what I would expect for you guys, at least $2. His target is $2.22. This chart is for the price of natural gas itself, which we are currently, let me pull that up, what I'm watching. This is the hourly chart I've been watching. So yesterday we were finding, or the past couple days, finding support on the 270 line. The hourly chart bounced off it multiple times. Today it broke below it and it looked like the last little shake before the bulls loaded. And we saw a spike all the way up to 278. So this is the hourly chart. I'm going to pull up the daily chart for it. So the daily chart, as you can see here, in the range that it's been in, has been 295 resistance, and down here at 270 support. So there's a lot of upside potential for this move here. You can see it's just getting started. We had the doji yesterday and a very big bullish follow-through candle today. So we're going to see if we can make our way up to at least 290 on natural gas. It's interesting, if the markets, sometimes you see pullback in markets and you'll see commodities like gold rise as people are shifting their money around. It's always nice to watch the price of these underlying commodities like gold or oil or natural gas, and then find the ETFs or ETNs that reflect those moves. And again, ETNs and ETFs that are subject to time decay, they are for trading, not for investing long term, in my opinion. RYAM, yep, 650 is nice support right now, but until we see it get over this 20 period moving average resistance, I wouldn't touch it. Just because there's not seeing any strength. You can see it has been rejected by that line twice today and is now testing it a third time. Actually more than 2 times if you look at all these candles individually. Nice bullish volume here, but still unable to do it. Could do it in the near future though. If it does get above the 20 period moving average resistance of 675, there's a decent amount of room to the high of, or to the 100 period moving average resistance of 730. Any other tickers you guys have, feel free to shout them out now. Checking back in for PCLN to see what that volume amounted to. There's that big volume, a dip for a new low of the day, and then the bulls bought that up as well. So this might be some bullish loading. I'm going to keep my eye here. Increase in volume, not a lot of price movement, and maintaining holding support. PG on a nice uptrend today. That is certainly not common today. So we're seeing a break above the 200 period moving average resistance right now, 74.58, currently just above it. Let me look at the daily chart really quick for PG. ER I just talked about, RYAM. It seems like you get a phone call every time I do. So PG, a nice bullish candlestick after the gap down today. 75 is going to be resistance. You're going to want to watch to see how it's able to hold this 200 period moving average support. Should get a good sense of that in the near future. I would agree, Snowfall, that Apple looks like sub 10 is 110 is in the future, but we could see a bounce from the markets off of this 200 daily moving average support. I'm going to pull up a longer term SPY chart here so we can look at this just in a sense of what the general markets are doing compared to history. Always look back at history, that's what charts are for. So this is the 11-month daily chart I'm about to switch you guys over to. Here's the 200 moving average. I'm not sure if you guys remember this dip, but it was crazy volatility that month in October. Did dip below it and then saw new highs very shortly after. So that was the market shaking out all the weak hands. You know, the main stocks were tanking then too. Netflix, Facebook, all those popular names. Money was coming out of them. And that's when the big boys with millions of dollars loaded and made a killing. So we have had it tested again fairly recently, back in July. And it bounced off there and set a new high as well. And now we are seeing if it's going to bounce off here again and set a new high. If it doesn't, if we get closes below it, it will signal a downside for sure. We had closes 5 closes total back here under the 200-day moving average support. So if we see 6 closes under it, then I will certainly be thinking that the bears are going to take control of this one. We have 204 support, which was the dip back here off the 200-day moving average, and also back here. So if 204 were to break, then look for 200 psychological support. Let's look at the weekly chart really quick to to see what kind of moving average support we have there as well. This is the 11-month weekly chart. Same amount of time, but scrunched up space. We've got the 50-week moving average support at 204.47. That is a very key level to watch because it did not close below it on that dip. So if we get a close below 204.47 to end the week, it is going to be a bearish signal. Back to SPY here. Tightening range, lower high and higher low. FCX. Nice bounce off 100 period moving average support on the 5-minute, currently hitting 20 period resistance. We'll see if it can get over that. I'm going to pull it up on the daily chart. So $10 is going to be psychological resistance for FCX for today. Seeing a nice bounce. Need to see a close above the 10-day moving average on the daily chart 1026 for there to be any strength behind this bounce. It has not closed above the 10-day moving average since June 24th. So almost 2 months now with that being resistance. If you guys have any more tickers, shout them out now. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off in the near future. Sunni making a little bit of a bullish push here. We're going to see how it reacts to $13 resistance. It has set a higher high and a higher low right now. FWP, low volume. Not much to see on the 5-minute chart. Whoops. Let me look up the daily chart of FWP. Trying to find support off of $25 even and finding resistance at 27. Have the 200-day moving average resistance at 28.07. So if it closes below 25, there's more downside coming. If it closes above 27, it's going to work towards the 200-day moving average resistance. But again, the volume today, $125,000 total volume, is minuscule compared to the big stocks we're watching. You guys has had volume. It's just been flat because it's all based on the price of natural gas. So the 5-minute chart for natural gas, which I'm pulling up right now, has been fairly even. I will pull that up for you to see. If you're going to be trading natural gas, you definitely want to be watching natural gas as well. So this is the 5-minute chart. Saw the initial spike to 278, then consolidation, making its move up, and now the past 20 minutes has been consolidating sideways. So you're going to want to see this low down here of 275.5. You want to see that hold on any kind of pullback. And as you can see now, it's fighting the 277 resistance that the past 20 minutes has seen. So keep your eye on that chart. Let's look at HD on the daily. Home Depot, I remember it was very overbought. It was signaling that I thought a pullback was coming. That's exactly how it played out. The upper wick here showed some profit taking. We can call this a doji next to it. That at the top of an uptrend is a bearish reversal signal, and we saw a lower high form. The high was 123.80 and then the high of 123.79. So that is a great resistance level there. And now we see the pullback under the upper Bollinger Band. Currently seeing another doji right here, so definitely indecision in the marketplace. 120 will be support, and the 10-day moving average is right there at 119.59. Let me pull up the 5-minute chart to see how it is trading today. pretty even, pretty flat. Watch these 100 and 200 period moving average resistances as it should test that level. Did see a low and then a higher low. Now working on the higher high aspect because it has two lower highs as well. Tightening range, decreasing volume, rubber band effect. Going to look for a break of either 122.22 or a break to the downside of 121.71. Alright, that's all I got for now. Looking at S here, just one more quick check-in. Like I just went over natural gas on the 5-minute chart. That's what you want to be watching. Go to investing.com or Google natural gas candlestick chart and click the investing.com link. Right now, natural gas is looking like a little bit of a bullish break on the 5-minute chart of 277. UGAS is a 3 times ETN to natural gas. So if natural gas goes up 1%, UGAS is going to go up 3%. So keep your eye on natural gas if you are playing UGAS. S is definitely looking like it's hitting resistance and struggling. This increase in volume shows selling here. That upper wick, look at all the upper wicks on these candles. That's worth noting. Tesla is bouncing. It's about to hit 20 period moving average resistance. No real highs trends forming. Obviously we have the low here, but nothing really for a high. We have up here 249.28, so a break over that would be bullish, or also a break over 248.50, which was the high here. But it's going to be all about that 20 period moving average resistance. Alright, I'm going to tap out here. I will check back in later this afternoon, and I'll keep talking to you guys in the chat room. Thanks for tuning in.